The Dodgers forced the World Series to go to the limit. Game 7. This is it. No safety nets, no tomorrows. It's all or nothing.
You are Locked On Dodgers, your daily Los Angeles Dodgers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
It's time for Locked On Dodgers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. It all builds up to Game 7, the ultimate baseball showdown. Why are we here? Because Yoshinobu Yamamoto and the defense gave the Dodgers exactly what they needed in a Game 6 where Dave Roberts once again made lineup changes, but this time they actually worked. I'm Harry Ruiz, Spanish radio play-by-play broadcaster for the Las Vegas Raiders and the USC Football Trojans, and I bleed Dodger Blue for life. I'm actually in my hotel room in Lincoln, Nebraska, recording this bonus episode of Locked On Dodgers because of your support. Man, the last time I was in a hotel room was 2 weeks ago before USC played Notre Dame, and it's the most watched episode in our YouTube channel's history. And now, here we go. Game 6, the Dodgers win. I couldn't let it go. I brought all my equipment, and here I am for you. To everyone who's new here, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. For our everydayers, you guys are the reason that we do this. That YouTube channel I just mentioned, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like our content, and drop a comment. All right. Let's talk about this game because Doc pushed the right buttons at last when it comes to that lineup. Because for weeks, the Dodgers have been needing to find that winning offensive formula because it has seemed like all they've tried to do is hit home runs. And finally, Dave Roberts found something that clicked. We've talked about how this lineup has felt inconsistent. Since the wild card round, we saw movements made before Game 5, and they really didn't work. They only scored one run. Then right here in this game, what did he do? He brought in Miguel Rojas, who took that 9 spot away from Alex Call. Alex Call taken out of the lineup, taken out of center field. Tommy Edman was sent out there, and you got Miguel Rojas playing at second base in this game. And then Mookie Betts was dropped from batting second to batting over in the 4 spot for the boys in blue. Well, second he was dropped in Game 5 to batting third, and then you had him batting cleanup in this game. So you know that he needed to find a way to make things work, to change him, and at the end of the day, it ended up working. First off, let's talk about Miguel Rojas. He made his first start in over 3 weeks. He steps right back in and plays incredible defense. He was amazing. He was key, and we will talk about that defense and the pitching for the Dodgers a little bit coming up here on our show. But right here, we're talking about the bats first. His at-bat quality went from pretty good in his first AB. He took 5 pitches. He made Gausman throw, so at least there's that. Then in the second at-bat, 3 pitches. You would like to at least force him to make better pitches in that case. And then the last one, it was 1 pitch out, and that was it. 0 for 3 for Miguel Rojas, so pretty much the same that we got from Andy Pages in most of the games in the postseason, and then the same that you got from Alex Call in the previous game. And then right here, Mickey Rowe, 3 at-bats, no hits. Fortunately, it didn't cost the team. I mean, right here, this squad, his leadership presence, you definitely felt it right there on the field for the Dodgers. It's something key. It's something huge. You can go watch one of our previous episodes where Travis Rogers sat one-on-one at Legends Addicts talking with Miguel Rojas about his future, about how he sees himself potentially as a manager in baseball. We know that the end is closer than the beginning for Miguel Rojas. So right here, what a great opportunity to not just be like, okay, I'm on this team and I get to celebrate with the Dodgers. It's like, no, he's a key component for this squad, and when they needed him the most, he showed out there for the Dodgers because his leadership, it's not something that you go on to MLB.com and it's going to pop up in the box score. It's the kind of detail that you notice when everyone else seems a little calmer when Rojas is out on the field, and that's what I felt from the rest of the defense. Then you look up and down that order, and you finally get Tommy Edman with the clutch hit. He got a double in that third inning. Then Will Smith drove him in with a double of his own. Mookie Betts, he made the Blue Jays pay for an intentional walk on Freddie Freeman. Bases loaded. He got that 2 RBI single, 3 runs early, and that's all that LA needed in this game. I mean, 2 intentional walks with first base open. And in the first situation, it was to Shohei Ohtani. After that, it was for Freddie Freeman, and the Dodgers made them pay. Mookie Betts, 2 outs, didn't matter. He got the runners home, and 3 runs felt like 10 compared to what the Dodgers did at Dodger Stadium on Tuesday. On Wednesday, you finally had a crooked number up in the World Series, and you felt yourself okay, in a better spot. So much so that the Blue Jays scored 1 in the bottom of the inning, but you felt no panic coming out from that Dodgers dugout, from that team. So that was good. And when Mookie delivered that 2 RBI single, you could almost feel the dugout excel for the Dodgers. Like, finally, the guy who grinds out every day got his payoff. And after the game, Mookie talked about that moment and how the work never stops. Let's listen.
It felt all right today. We'll see about tomorrow. But yeah, I came in. I was hitting all day yesterday, and you know how I always work. And just to get it to show up today in a big spot, it's really refreshing. But shout out to the boys for getting on base and creating some traffic for the moment.
Let's hope that Mookie can come through once again in Game 7. They need him bad. They need everybody in that lineup to perform, but if your top dogs, your top stars can some way, somehow deliver for this team, that lessens the pressure for everyone else, and that is also going to give everyone else better pitches to be able to swing at. And by the way, I mentioned Freddie Freeman getting walked. It wasn't intentional. It was a 5-pitch walk. The first pitch he saw, it was a foul ball. After that, 4 balls in a row, including 2 in the dirt. So intentional walk right there. First base was open, and they loaded him up for Freddie Freeman, who made them pay. Somebody that has been making them pay throughout the whole series has been Will Smith, who came through in a big way. And you could tell afterward just how much that early offense meant to him and the team, because you play with a completely different confidence when you have the lead instead of when you're chasing. Here's what he had to say about jumping out to that 3-0 lead and holding on from there.
Yeah, that was huge. It'd have been nice to obviously tack on a few more there, but the 3 spot was big. It was a low-scoring game today. They were pitching really well. So put up 3 and then hold on to it we obviously needed it.
It wasn't flashy, but it was efficient, and that's all that matters. That's postseason baseball right there. You take the smart swings, you cash in your chances, and trust your arms. 3 runs scored by the Dodgers. How many home runs did they hit in this game? 0. Be able to get runners on base, like Mookie said, it's like, yeah, he was able to get that opportunity because the other guys in front of him got into scoring position, got traffic on the bases, and got the Dodgers in a position to be able to cash in, and that's what they did. The Dodgers didn't chase as much as in previous games. They worked counts. They got Gausman pitch count up there pretty early in the game, and they got him out of the game after the 6th inning. Unfortunately, they weren't able to get some insurance runs to at least lower down our blood levels and be like, okay, calm down, your pressure, okay, it's a little bit better. They didn't get those insurance runs, only 1 hit and 2 walks against those bullpen arms that, let's remember, they're not the best in the world, but the Dodgers hitters, they've made them look very, very good out there. So credit to Dave Roberts right now. He's been criticized all postseason long, including myself, who I was pissed off after games 4 and 5 of the World Series. But in this one, he pressed the right buttons. And now the Dodgers, they are 1 win away from another World Series championship. And speaking of pressing the right buttons, how about Yoshinobu Yamamoto? When the Dodgers needed him the most, their ace delivered. Next on Locked On Dodgers, how Yamamoto and the defense gave LA the winning combination that they've needed.
This episode of Locked On Dodgers is brought to you by Prize Picks. We make decisions every day. You make them, I make them. But on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. So don't miss any of the excitement this sports season, whether you are deep into the NFL like me and Harry, whether you love the NBA or both, right? There's no better time to jump in on the action. So if you haven't tried it yet, Prize Picks is the simplest way to play. You just pick more or less on at least 2 player stats. And if you get them right, you win. It really is that easy. It takes you less than 60 seconds to make your lineup, and you can play wherever Prize Picks operates, including California, Texas, Georgia, and right now, the new Stacks feature. That's a game changer, right? You can pick more on Steph Curry's points, threes, and assists all in the same lineup. That's only available on Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONMLB for $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right.
Don't forget to follow Locked On Dodgers not only on YouTube, but on X, Instagram, and TikTok as well. You can find my co-host Travis on social media at Travis Rogers on X and Instagram. He'll be back with me on Monday. Meanwhile, I'm at Harry Ruiz on X, at Harry_Ruiz on Instagram, and at Harry Ruiz_ on TikTok. Yoshinobu Yamamoto plus clutch defense was the winning formula in Game 6. What a performance. Yoshinobu Yamamoto, take a bow. He was everything the Dodgers hoped for when they signed him ahead of the 2024 season, and he delivered then. When he came back after an injury, he was great in the postseason. He was clutch in the World Series, winning Game 2. They didn't need him again because they won the series in 5. But over here, they used him in Game 2. They used him once again in Game 6, and the Dodgers have won those 2 games, and he's delivering now better than ever. This guy, he is clutch. He is the kind of pitcher that changes things, that when he goes out there, he's calm, he's sharp, he's fearless on the biggest stage. He came out attacking early, keeping the Blue Jays guessing, and it was like the continuation of what was a gem that he threw in Game 2. You could feel his confidence through the screen. Every pitch had conviction, and this wasn't just about strikeouts. It was about efficiency. Yamamoto trusted his defense, and that defense rewarded him. So when you know that the guys behind you can be doing plays, yes, there was that error by Max Muncy with the ball going underneath his glove. There was one by Mookie Betts, same situation where I felt that he could have made more on that play. It ended up being ruled as a single, but at the same time, it's like it wasn't perfect, but it was good enough for the Dodgers, and that's a difference. When you got a pitcher like Yamamoto up there on the mound, it makes those mistakes on defense. When they are 1 or 2, it doesn't hurt as much because you know that Yamamoto, even though committing those errors are going to cost him when it comes to having to throw 4, 5, 6 more pitches to the next guy instead of that being an out, it's still like, okay, you got the right guy on the mound. He's going to make the right decisions, and your team is going to be in a right spot. Because how about Miggy Rowe? That guy, my God. Web gem left and right. He stole a hit in the 3rd. Turned a high-difficulty double play in the 4th. And oh boy, let's fast forward all the way to that 9th inning, because it was a roller coaster of emotions. I was here in my hotel room watching the TV, and I'll tell you this story. I started setting up the equipment to record the podcast ASAP, and after I set up the equipment, it was like, okay, things started unraveling because Alejandro Kirk, he got hit by a pitch by Roki Sasaki on an 0-2 count. Addison Barger goes deep to center field, and I'm like, oh boy, that's going to score a run. It's going to be a 1-run game with the tying run at second base. Justin Eaton had come into this game as a defensive replacement. The ball gets stuck. It gets wedged in that between the dirt and the outfield wall. Dean raises his hands. I was like, what just happened here? And Kiké, the left fielder, he also raised his hands to say, hey, the ball is stuck. At that moment, I'll be honest, I was pissed off because Fox switched the camera and you could already see the runner coming home. And in my mind, I'm like, if that's the runner coming from first, I could only imagine the guy behind him is pretty much close to him. He could tie the game right there. Go for the damn ball. They didn't. Thank you. You know who? the umps ended up calling it a dead ball. So with that, it was a ground rule double. So the runners could only advance two bases. The runner from first goes to third, a pinch runner for Kirk. Barger gets stopped at second, and it was like, okay, a terrible break for the Blue Jays. They're still complaining about it on social media. I saw them all around Twitter, all around TikTok, and moaning about it and being like, that's a ridiculous play. Hey, you know what? It's baseball. That happens once every blue moon, and I always say, there's almost a guarantee every single baseball game you watch, you're going to see something that you've never seen before. We've seen ground rule doubles because of balls getting tipped by a fan or a ball getting stuck in the ivy out at Wrigley Field or other crazy situations. Right here, it just got stuck. Literally, like it went from Barger's bat to that little space between the center field wall and the warning track. Some way, somehow, it happened. It makes me think, hey, somebody that's an LA fan went with the Pope recently and gave him, I think it was either a jersey or a hat or something. And I was like, hey, hopefully we got that little extra, you know what, a prayer in there for our boys in blue, and I'll take it right here. It worked, and that switched from having the Blue Jays down 1 run with a runner in scoring position to tie the game to then second and third. No outs, though. No outs. Roki Sasaki, he was shaky. It took him a while to take care of business in the 8th inning for the Dodgers. By the way, first off, Justin Robleski, he came in the 7th. Yes, he did allow a double, but at the end of the day, no runs scored. So, Robo, good job, man. I trusted you. You delivered. Roki Sasaki, we spoke about it on Friday's show of Locked On Dodgers, Travis Rogers and myself, about, hey, you might need Sasaki for 2-3 innings in this game because do you trust the bullpen in a close game? And the reality is no. But Dave Roberts said, no, we're going to send Robleski first because Yamamoto struggled towards the end of the 6th inning. It seemed like he was going to get out of it and have a shot at going at the 7th inning. They didn't do it. They gave Robleski the 7th inning instead, and a lot of people started getting nervous there. Robleski took care of business, and then Roki was the one that struggled a bit. He got out of the 8th inning without allowing a run, but then he came into the 9th, hit by pitch, double. 4 men got on base against him in this game. That's a little bit nerve-wracking right there if you're a Dodger fan. Fortunately, nothing happened, and the Dodgers were able to get the win. But who comes in for Roki Sasaki? Tyler Glasnow, the guy that a lot of us were penciling in as, I don't know if the starter, but at least the bulk guy for Game 7 if the Dodgers got to it. And he was watching the game out there in the bullpen. And then out of nowhere, he starts seeing Roki Sasaki struggles. He starts warming up. He gets thrown into this game. First pitch, pop up to first. Huge blessing. 2 pitches later, Kiké catches a fly ball to left field. Intelligently, he's also seeing how Barger was off the base and threw it to Miggy Rowe, and it happened. A double play, game over. Game 7 is forced. Right here, let's go back to back. First, let's hear from Justin Dean, who talks about that crazy play out in the outfield. And also, let's hear from Kike Hernandez because, man, those plays were fundamental. They were key, and it was the baseball gods saying, like, hey, we want to see a Game 7. Dodgers, go ahead. You got a second chance of life right here in the Fall Classic. Let's hear first from Dean, then from Kiké.
Growing up playing baseball, I've heard that rule like countless times. If it's something lodged, like just throw your hands up. I saw the ball did not bounce back to me at all. I just trusted that was going to be the call, and luckily that was the call. I've seen it before, like I said, from a distance, but that's probably my first time, me getting the ball and me having to throw my hands up.
Obviously with Glasnow's stuff, I was just anticipating him hitting the ball like to the left side of the field, and I was playing him shallow, tying runner at second base. I just wanted to make sure that if he got a hit through the 6th hole, I was going to be shallow enough to keep the runner, the tying runner at second base, or the tying runner that was at second base, keep him at third, and then the batter runner stay at first. But for a split second, as Glasnow threw the ball, the crowd got quiet, and I was able to hear that the bat broke, so I just got a really good jump on the ball, and I came in, and halfway there the ball got in the lights, and I was just like, not the right time to stop to see where the ball is. Just keep going. You have an idea where the ball is going to go, and at the very end, ball got out of the lights, went in my glove, and I felt that the guy on second had took a little bit too big of a, off the bat, he might have thought that the ball was going to drop, so I felt that he was kind of off the bag, but I was coming in full speed, so I didn't want to really throw hard because I was probably going to throw it over his head, and unbelievable pick by Miggy. I didn't give him the best of throws, but he was able to stay with it, and we forced Game 7.
Yeah, how crazy is that? It's the first time in Dean's baseball career that he is part of the play with him going to the ball, as he spoke about it right there in his interview. And then Kike Hernandez, man, how smart of a baseball play he just did right there. He stayed. There's a photo online where you could see him pretty much catching the ball, no look, and already having his eyes set at second base, knowing what he's going to do next, and knowing that he has a split second to just make the right decision, get the ball there. And Miguel Rojas right there, Kike gave him credit. We'll give him credit too, the way that he was able to dig that ball out of position in a crazy spot right there at second base. It's just the type of baseball plays where that's why we love this sport. There's some people who call baseball boring. Man, I could watch a game like the one on the extra inning games on Monday that goes 6+ hours, and I'm focused, entertained, and just waiting for the moment to happen. And then something like this happens in a game where I was already like starting to be like, all right, we're going to lose this. This is not meant to be. They're either going to tie it here in the ninth, or we're going to lose the game. And then, boom, a play like this happens, and now everybody we were already hyped thinking about Game 7. Now we know that we got a Game 7. And the Dodgers, look, they have always been at their best when they're complete. Not just out-slugging opponents, but preventing runs, playing sharp baseball, playing smart baseball, staying composed under pressure. Does that sound familiar? It's exactly what they did in the World Series last year. And that's what Game 6 was all about. Trust. Yamamoto trusted his fielders, Roberts trusted his guys, and this team trusted the process. Now, all that trust comes down to one game, because what's next? Do or die Game 7. Coming up on Locked On Dodgers, I'll tell you why the Dodgers are built for this moment, what history says about Game 7s, and how this team's road warrior mentality could be the difference.
The NBA is back. Austin Reeves dropping buzzer beaters on people's heads. I love it. And there's no better place to get in on the action than with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Because on FanDuel, even if you miss the start of a game, or you want to kind of wait and see how the game starts to unfold, and then you want to ride that hot hand when it starts to happen, FanDuel is the place, because FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score the next bucket to fourth quarter comebacks. FanDuel has what you want. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at an even bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when you know that your team's making that late push to get back in the game. So the question that I have for you, FanDuel right now is offering you new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet hits. So what are you waiting for? Head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA.
Thanks for making us your first listen wherever you may be tuning in, either on your favorite podcast app or our YouTube channel. Subscribe to it. It's free. Smash that notification bell so you never miss a beat. Full episodes, hot takes, breaking Dodgers news, and the Dodgers postcast show with Pete Fox live after the final out of Game 7 of the World Series on Saturday night. If it drops, you're on it. That's how you become an everydayer here on Locked On Dodgers. It's Game 7. It's all or nothing. It doesn't get any bigger than this. It's the 44th World Series Game 7 in Major League Baseball history. The Dodgers, they're chasing their 9th championship. They're chasing back-to-back World Series titles for the first time in franchise history. And right here, they're in position to finish the job. 3 wins for the Dodgers, 3 wins for the Blue Jays. Who can get game number 7? Because for these boys in blue, they've been through adversity. They've had the questions, the injuries, the ups, the very downs, the lows. They've experienced them. We felt them. We lived through them in July and August, where we were asking questions. Are they even going to win the division? Are they even going to make it to the playoffs? If they do, it might be as a wild card team playing on the road. And look, they ended up winning the division, but they played in the wild card. They won those 2 games. Then they went, beat Philadelphia, swept the Brewers. They were in this trajectory going up. And then, bam, after being tied 1-1, taking the lead 2-1 in that marathon of game 3, then it started coming down big time. The bats disappeared, and look, they scored 3 runs between games 4 and 5. And then they scored 3 runs in the 3rd inning of game 6. So it's still not where it's supposed to be, but at least I'll look at it this way. They went from 3 runs in 2 games combined to 3-1. Hopefully on Saturday they can get more. And here's what's crazy. They're 6-1 on the road this postseason. 6-1. I mean, they've only lost 1 road game. Yes, it was in Toronto in the first game of the World Series. But you're talking about a team that has beat the Brewers twice in Milwaukee, the team with the best record in baseball. A super dangerous Phillies team. They beat them twice in Philadelphia, undefeated against these 2 squads on the road in the National League postseason. And then they go against the Blue Jays, a team with the best record in the American League, and they've beaten them 2 out of 3 already at the Rogers Center, where all I hear is, oh, look at the environment. Oh, look, it's sold out. Oh, look, we deserve this and this and that. The Dodgers, they've taken care of business already twice in 3 games. It was game 1, the emotion, their first World Series in 32 years for Toronto, and they kicked the Dodgers' ass, 11-4. But after that, Yamamoto has completely quieted them down. Now, it's the chance for, remember what they were saying in game 1? We don't need him. We don't need him. That's what they were chanting at Shohei Ohtani in his final at-bat. Well, here's your opportunity to show that you didn't need him. But here's also the opportunity for Shohei Ohtani to shut everybody up at the 6 who was chanting that and prove them why he is the best player in baseball today and maybe ever. What happened the last time that he was in a closeout game for the Dodgers? This dude went berserk. Hit multiple home runs, pitched 6 innings. It was a great game. He hit 3 home runs. He walked ones. The Dodgers won. They made it to the World Series after sweeping the Brewers. Now, here is his opportunity on 3 days rest. It'll be just the 2nd time ever in his Major League Baseball career that he pitches on 3 days rest. The last time, it was 2023, his last season not wearing Dodger blue. He was down in Anaheim. He went 2 innings in 1 game, and then 3 days later, he was like, all right, I'm going to go back on the mound. You know a pitcher, when he gets completely rocked early in a game, they might pull him and be like, hey, let's just chalk that one up as a bad day. Do something better soon. And they pitched him 3 days later. So right here, the Dodgers, after using Glasnow in Game 6, fortunately, it was just 3 pitches, but he went through his warm-ups. He went through all that situation. I still feel that they are going to rely heavy on him. But after Glasnow pitched in Game 6, now I feel it's going to be Shohei Ohtani, the starter. The Athletic, Ken Rosenthal, is reporting that sources within the Dodgers have told them that it's going to be Shohei Ohtani, and it's the logical decision for the Dodgers, for him to start the game. If he can give you 3-4 innings, 5-6, if he is locked in and doing an amazing job, keep him in there. Then you go to the Blake Snells of the world, to the Tyler Glasnows of the world, to Roki Sasaki, who hopefully is in a better spot. And then you figure the rest of the game out, which, by the way, Dave Roberts in his post-game press conference said Everyone is available. And then after he was asked if Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who almost got to 100 pitches on Friday night, if he would be available, he was like, oh, sorry, my bad. Everybody but Yoshinobu Yamamoto is available. So don't be surprised if we get Blake Snell to start. Then you get, Shohei Ohtani to start, Blake Snell to follow him up, Tyler Glasnow, Roki Sasaki. To be honest, I wouldn't even be surprised if Yoshinobu Yamamoto raises his hand and he goes out there and plays. If this game goes extra innings, which I hope it doesn't, I'm going to be broadcasting USC's road game against Nebraska here in Lincoln, Nebraska. That game starts at 4:30 Pacific time, 6:30 Central, where we're at. The Dodgers game starts at 5:08 Pacific time, so 38 minutes later. So I'm going to be hopefully in the second quarter with my iPad over here at the bottom, watching the game and hoping that the Dodgers get a win while I'm calling a USC game. Look, hopefully I go 2-0. 2-0 on Saturday. The Trojans win in Nebraska and the Dodgers win in Toronto. But this team right now, I mean, it's an all hands on deck kind of situation. It doesn't even begin to describe it. Everyone is available, and you'll see openers, relievers, pinch hitters, everything that they've got. They're going to throw everything but the kitchen sink at the Blue Jays, and the Blue Jays are going to do exactly the same thing because that's what Game 7 is. Baseball just distilled to its purest form. No analytics, no safety nets, just execution and heart. Because, look, right now the Dodgers, they've had it all season long, but in pieces. The depth. They've had a great roster. You look at that 40-man roster and you're like, oh boy, might be a 120-win team. They barely got over 90, and that is after beating the D-backs in that series in Arizona and sweeping the Mariners. They barely got over 90. They won the division. They were the third best record in the National League. But right now, after winning that Game 6, even though it wasn't the best version of themselves, they have belief. And they even had that belief after losing Game 5. Now, not only do they have belief, but they have momentum. They shut up Toronto in a major way. The Rogers Center, you just couldn't feel the pressure through the TV. There were big moments coming up where it was like, okay, finally they were getting on their feet. But if you can get something early against Max Scherzer, which you put that pitching matchup, Shohei Ohtani versus Max Scherzer, who are you going to take right now? Everybody, except Toronto right now because they got Scherzer, is going to say Shohei Ohtani. Everybody would say Blake Snell. Everybody would say Tyler Glasnow. Now it's time to just go out there, execute, get the job done because LA has fought too hard, come too far to stop now. It's all or nothing. Dodgers, Blue Jays, Game 7. Let's finish the damn job. All right. That's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Dodgers, a bonus episode on the road. Last time that I was on the road, they won. I'm on the road again, they won. I'm going to be on the road tomorrow. I'm going to be very, very honest. I don't think I'll be able to do a show on Saturday because once the USC game ends, I'm going to have to jump on the bus and then to a plane. If I do a bonus episode, it would be from LAX at 2, 3 in the morning. So maybe then, depending on how I feel. But look, right now, the first things first, let's win Game 7, and then we'll talk about it afterwards. Let's speak it into existence right now. I was saying predictions because I want to know what you are predicting for Game 7. Let me know in the comments below and on our socials at Locked On Dodgers, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, everywhere you can find us. All right, I appreciate you so much riding with me for this show. Until next time, keep it real, keep it Dodger blue. Come on, boys. Let's win another World Series.